Welcome back to HIM tutorials as nutrition in animals is going on, and the subtopic digestive system in ruminants, that is grass eating animals, we are going to do. And the learning objective which you will be learn up to the end of this session, you will learn about what is rumination, types of rumination and digestion in ruminants. So let's begin with the carbohydrate digestion first. As we all know that humans do not digest the complex form of carbohydrate, that is called as cellulose, but the animals are capable of digesting cellulose because they have got enzyme cellulase in them which helps in digestion of the complex form of carbohydrate, that is cellulose. So let's see that how different organisms digest the cellulose in different parts of the body with the help of different type of microorganisms that which are called as microbes. So first, in ruminating animals, ruminating animals are also called as grass eating animals. They are the grass eaters, and if they are the grass eaters, it means they will eat grass, hay, husk and straw like organic substances, and they will digest the cellulose with the help of enzyme called as cellulase. But in this digestion of cellulose, they had got a microbe in them which is symbiotic bacteria. Symbiotic word means that kind of bacteria is present in the body of animal which is helping digesting the cellulose in the body of animal, and as a result the animal is providing protection to that bacteria. So that's why both the organism, the bacteria and the animal, they both are living in mutual relationship with each other. They're living in symbiosis with each other, benefiting each other, not harming but benefiting each other. Okay, so symbiotic bacteria which is called as ruminococcus, because this ruminococcus is present in special two chambers of the grass eating animals, that is rumen and reticulum. So this ruminococcus, which is a symbiotic bacteria, secretes the enzyme which is called as cellulase, and this cellulase will convert the cellulose to various type of acids. Okay, so this is about the digestion in ruminants, that how in ruminating animals means grass eating animals, the ruminococcus will digest the cellulose by secreting an enzyme which is called as cellulase, and just transformed into different type of acids like butyric acid, propionic acid, acetic acid and many more. In case of pseudo ruminants, pseudo means false and ruminants means again the grass eating animals. Such kind of grass eating animals which do not have cellulase in them, but still they digest or try to digest the cellulose in their body. How they will go for? Let's see. For example, rabbit. What the rabbit is doing? Rabbit do not have cellulose in it. Okay. So in the cecum part, it digests the food. As we know that in our earlier lecture we have discussed that the small intestine is that part where the maximum absorption of the nutrients from the food take place, but the cecum is the first part of large intestine. So this means that if the food is digested in cecum of the rabbit, then it means that food will not be absorbed as nutrients in the body in the large intestine, and that nutrients which are digested in the cecum of the rabbit, that will pass out from the body with the in the form of fecal matter. So the fecal matter which was ingested by the body of rabbit, that contain cellulose in it. Okay. Now here two things we have to understood. If in daytime because these pseudo ruminants, they will defecate or pass out the fecal matter twice in a day. So if we consider a daytime, then at daytime the totally food which is defecated by a rabbit, that is totally undigested. But in night, when the fecal matter is egested out, so what is happening in night, when feces is egested out by the rabbit, that then in that feces there is presence of partially digested cellulose, and partially digested cellulose is present in the feces. So what rabbit will do? Rabbit will eat its own feces. Why the rabbit is eating its own feces? Because it does not have cellulase. So it does not, rabbit is not able to digest the cellulose in its body because cellulase is not there. So firstly, for the first time, when the rabbit eats up the food, that will come out as a feces from its body, and that has partially digested cellulose. Now this partially digested cellulose is again taken in as a food by the rabbit, and rabbit will eat up its own feces, and at that time when this partially digested feces they are eating and it has got partially digested cellulose in it, then that cellulose is absorbed by its small intestine as a nutrient for its body. So those organisms which eats up their own feces, they are called as the caprograms, okay, and the process is called as caprogamy. Okay, now the third one in which the cellulose is digested by the organisms. So the third organisms are termites. They are also called as dimak in Hindi. Okay, so termites act on wood and paper. So in these termites there is presence of a symbiotic protozoa called as trichonympha, and this trichonympha will secrete an enzyme which is called as beta glucosidase, and this beta glucosidase will help in digesting the cellulose to simple sugar. So here you can see that termites will have got symbiotic protozoa in it as microbe, which is trichonympha, and trichonympha will, the help of enzyme called as beta glucosidase, it will digest the cellulose into simple sugar. So like this the grass is being, or cellulose is being digested by different kind of organisms with the help of different type of enzymes at the different type of place in digestive system. So now we are going to learn mainly about the digestive system in ruminants. Ruminants mainly include grass eating animals, and grass eating animals are called as herbivores. So grass eating animals, grass eaters are called as ruminants. This ruminant word is derived from a Latin word that is called as ruminare, and ruminare means to chew over again and again. So those animals, when they are in a resting position, they keep on chewing something in their mouth. Are they chewing gum? No, they are not having any kind of chewing gum in their mouth, but they are just masticating and keep on chewing the big chunks of the food and converting them into the simple form. So those animals which lead to the mechanism of chewing again and again, they are called as the ruminants. In these ruminants, the stomach is divided into 4 chambers. They have got big stomach, and the stomach is divided into 4 chambers as rumen, second is reticulum, and third is omesum, fourth is abomesum, also called as true stomach. Now we will draw very quickly a rough diagram of the digestive system of ruminants as so. So this is the mouth part. This is a esophagus as food pipe. This is the first chamber, which is called as rumen. This is the second chamber, which is called as reticulum. This is the third chamber called as omesum. And this one is the fourth chamber, which is called as abomesum. Now this will lead to the small intestine, and here the cellulose digesting part is present, which is called as cecum. Again it will lead to large intestine, and this is the rectum, and rectum leads to the anus. So it is small intestine, this is large intestine, this is anus, and this is a big chamber which is functional in case of ruminants, that is cecum. So the food enters through the mouth, and it from the mouth, as in the mouth there is presence of teeth, and in case of grass eating animals, canines are absent. Why? Because canines are very much functional in those animals which are flesh eating, but we are discussing grass eating animals, so canines are absent here, and that part where the canine is not present, that is called as digestem. That is called as digestem. And the incisors are, they are very sharp in cutting and biting of grass, because grass is very hard. So for biting and cutting of the grass, the incisors are very, very sharp. Okay. After that, there is main present are premolars and molars, and these teeth help in grinding and chewing of food. So for the first time, when the food enters in the mouth of organism, animal, grass eating animal, that food will move from the mouth, masticated, only the incisors will cut large chunks of food. Okay, and that food will enter from the esophagus to the first chamber, that is rumen. Rumen is the largest one, largest of all the chambers, and in the rumen, that food which enters for the first time, that food will be acted upon by number of bacteria, and the fermentation process of that food will take place, and then that food will converted into cud. Now this cud form of food will enter from the rumen into the reticulum, and from the reticulum again it go back to the mouth of an animal when the animal is in resting position, and at that time the large chunks which the animal had swallowed very fastly, that are get converted into very small form of the food with the help of these premolars and molars by the process of mastication, mainly the grinding and the chewing. Now that food which goes from the reticulum as a cud, so into the mouth, the chewing of cud will take place. What happened? Chewing of cud will take place, and this chewing of cud means rumination. This chewing of cud means rumination. Okay. Now the food, after the chewing and mixing up with the saliva, it comes back into the third chamber. It comes back by passing from first to second, then to the third chamber, that is called as omesum. Omesum is the smallest part of the all. Okay, it is smallest from all the four. So in the omesum, again the food is again broken down into small pieces, and from the omesum the food enters into the last chamber, the fourth chamber, that is abomesum, and it is also called as true stomach. Why? Because it contains gastric juices in it. It contains gastric juices in it, and these gastric juices will release enzymes and HCl, hydrochloric acid, into the food, and that food will then move towards the small intestine. Here the absorption take place, and from, because digestion is all over here. Okay, now from small intestine the food will finally move to the cecum, and cecum, you know that in humans the cecum part is very reduced. It is a pouch like structure. Why? Because humans do not have an enzyme called cellulase, so that's why we can't digest the cellulose. Okay, we can't digest the grass. But in case of animals, the cecum is very well developed, it is functional, it has got the enzyme which is called as cellulase, and this cellulase will help in digestion of the cellulose, and the nutrients are formed and they are being absorbed by the large intestine, and then the fecal matter, the undigested food, will move towards the rectum, and from the rectum it moves towards the anus, and finally from the anus the undigested food comes out of the body of the organism or the animal. Okay, so this is the whole procedure. And ruminants or grass eating animals, if we consider an example, then cow, buffalo, sheep, goat, these are examples of ruminants. They are grass eaters and they are called as ruminants, and ruminant word is derived from the ruminare, which means to chew over again and again. Firstly, they are just swallowing the food, swallowing the big chunks of food, but after the food when goes to the rumen and converted into the cud, and then cud passes to the small parts into the reticulum. From the reticulum again into small parts, it gets back into the mouth. It again masticated properly with the help of these premolars and molars. Grinding and chewing will go on, and that food will mix with saliva, and that saliva food will come back to the omesum, which is the smallest of all the chambers, and inside the omesum again the big complex part of the food again changes into small pieces of the food, and that food will enter into the abomesum, which is the true stomach. Why? Because it has gastric juices, it has enzymes and HCl that mixes up with the food, digestion will complete. Now absorption will take place in small intestine. Again the cellulose part is there, which is digested with the help of cellulase, which is present in the cecum, and then again the water and the nutrients are absorbed, and finally the undigested food will come out of the body of animal through the anus. So this is all about your digestion in ruminants. So up to our next video, keep watching, keep learning. Thank you so much.